Hey there, Derek Rydall here, founder of the Law of Emergence and author of the best-selling books Emergence and the Abundance Project. And I'm just really excited to talk to you today briefly about the strange secret to being a powerful influencer. And now more than ever, we need to really understand the secret to influence. And the secret, I want to say right out of the gate, is that we have to understand our influence over ourselves. Okay? Because our capacity to influence others is directly related to our capacity to influence ourselves and to our ability to be aware of how we are being influenced. I'm going to say that again. Our capacity to influence someone else is directly related to our capacity to influence ourselves and to our ability to be aware of when and how we are being influenced. Right now, we are in the midst of a critical time in human history. I don't have to say that, I don't think. But it's not just because there's financial challenges and there's a pandemic, and not even just because there's all kinds of craziness and corruption and things. We are in the midst of an apocalypse. An apocalypse doesn't just mean the end of the world. It means the end of the world as we know it, but it also means the uncovering, the revealing of that which was hidden. And in the midst of such a fertile time as this, all of the need and the desire to control, to coerce, just all the different ways of controlling. The ego, its full armaments are out in full force. And conspiracies are rampant. And conflict is rampant. And propaganda is rampant. It's such a time as this in history when new regimes rise up. Fascism rises up. Dictatorial, tyrannical socialism rises up. Within a company or an organization, a decadence takes place. Something rises up that often marks the end of that organization, where it's all about control, where it's all about grabbing more power. And we're in one of those times right now. And what's dangerous about it, and then ultimately what's going to be very beautiful and powerful about it, but what's dangerous about it is that the propaganda and the power to and the focus on influencing people is so pernicious and so prevalent, and with social media is so magnified that we are all susceptible to it. It's like the biggest virus is not the pandemic, it's not COVID. The biggest virus are these thought viruses. These thought viruses of good and bad and good and evil and right and wrong and should and shouldn't and the way that they're polarizing us. And for those of you that want to be an influencer in your life, that want to be a change maker, that want to be a thought leader, or just want to have influence over yourself and your life in general, the only individuals that are going to get out of this relatively unscathed are those that are aware of how they're being influenced. You think, this is just how I feel today, right? This is, I feel this way because there's a pandemic. I feel this way because I'm stuck at my home. I feel this way because my friend got sick or whatever. And you think you're just feeling a certain way because that's just life. But it's not. You're being influenced. There's a contagion going on in the collective consciousness. There are beliefs and memes, and they're not yours. They don't belong to you. And I want to tell you a really interesting thing to go down the rabbit hole even a little bit more. Whatever problem you're struggling with, mentally, emotionally, physically, or financially, that is a thought virus of lack or limitation that was here before you got here. It doesn't even belong to you. You did not create the belief in lack or limitation. You did not create the beliefs that create sickness and disease. These are viruses, thought viruses, that were part of the collective consciousness when you got here. And to the extent that you were not inoculated from the belief of separation, lack, limitation, and the belief in good and evil, to the degree that you're not inoculated from that, to that degree you become susceptible to those thought viruses. Do you understand? And so right now, those are up. The COVID is not the only virus that's gotten kicked up. What's getting kicked up and all the dust and scuffling are these very, very core thought viruses. Stronger than they have in a long time. So in order to make it through this relatively unscathed, but more importantly for those of you that want to be change makers, thought leaders, influencers, in order to be the change in the midst of this, you have to be aware of where your triggers are, of what's influencing you. You have to be aware that I'm not just being angry about this Facebook post or this tweet, or I'm not just reacting to this thing about masks or this or that or Black Lives Matter because that's just the way it is. There's something going on inside of me that is reacting to that. There's a shadow, there's a fear, there's a belief, or maybe there's a passion. But most people don't know the difference. They're just a ball of reaction. And they're being just pulled along like puppets. And the puppeteers are the patterns and the individuals that are influencing people with those patterns. So that's the first thing. You have to know that. Now, here's an interesting little experiment. Go have a talk with your parents, right? Or go home for a holiday or whatever, and notice, you ever noticed how certain ways of speaking, certain beliefs, certain eating habits, preferences, you ever noticed as an adult going back and seeing that, lo and behold, your mother loves bread, you love bread. Wait a second, do I love bread because I love bread? Or do I love bread because I was enculturated or indoctrinated or habituated because of my mom's desire or habit? I know that seems silly, but have you ever noticed that? And comment here, let me know about what you're getting about this, if you're understanding how important it is. If you want to be an influencer in the world, if you want to have influence in the world, you have to know how you're being influenced first. You have to see how and to what extent you're a product of parental fantasies and habituation, peer pressure, social pressure, societal conditioning, so that you can become more and more a sovereign being who can be a unique expression of what you're here for. Instead of being a reaction, all of your expressions being a reaction to where we've been before, to historical precedents and peer pressure and societal conditioning and all of that. So the first step in being a powerful influencer is that you have to be aware how you're being influenced. And I'm telling you, people, we are being really influenced right now. Really, really influenced. We are picking up a lot more viruses of belief and of separation and duality and us and them. And when we look at the political machine and the propaganda machine, even of good social movements, and we see that they are becoming influencers, but they're not becoming influencers in exactly a good way. A lot of it is, again, being grabbed by the wounded part of them and a need to gain control and power. That's what we saw happen up in Portland, in America, and that's what we're seeing happening all over, on the left, on the right. So you have to know how you're being influenced. You have to have a deep understanding of yourself in order to have an inner standing, in order to have a powerful outer stance, to take a stand all the way through. As it says over the cave of the Oracle of Delphi, it says, know thyself. It doesn't say, win the Twitter battle. It doesn't say have a 7-figure webinar. It says know thyself. So we have to know how we're being influenced. The second key, and by the way, real quick, if you want to master the power to unlock your own ability to influence the world, to be an influencer in the world, to be a change maker and a thought leader, and do it in a successful, sustainable, and yes, even profitable way, then I want to invite you to my free training on how to unlock the power to influence the world. And you can just go to DerekRydall.com/influencer. That's DerekRydall.com/influencer. And I think the link is here as well. So it's going to be a powerful training where I'm going to show you step by step how to discover what I call your life code, that unique life's work that is encoded in your life story, how to understand and turn that into your unique offering to the world, whether it's books, programs, teaching, speaking, workshop, coaching, healing, how when you understand and excavate this key piece, what life has been up to as you, what life is developing you for, what you're made of and made for, when you understand what that is, and then you know how to put that into your messaging or your marketing or your offering, you become like a homing beacon or a lighthouse that attracts to you the people, the partners, and the opportunities that are a match for you, because we are in an ecosystem, right? It's like the oak tree gives acorns that are exactly what the squirrel needs. And the squirrel plants the acorns, forgets 80% of them, and then the squirrel becomes the farmer of the forest and more oak trees grow. There's a perfect ecosystem. But most people are cut off from it. They're cut off from the seed of truth and purpose planted in the soil of their soul. They've been influenced by the world to be something they're not. And then they decide they want to make a living or live their life's work, and they don't have a clue who they are. They may think they know who they are, but they may have been an acorn looking out at the forest and seeing all the apple trees and getting influenced by apple trees and thinking, well, apples is the way to go. And they try to be an apple tree. And those apples are terrible, right? That the squirrels do not want to have anything to do with those apples. And because squirrels want acorns. And the people that love apples, they don't like those apples because they're not coming from an apple tree. And that may sound like, what the heck are you talking about, Derek? But I think you understand what I'm saying. We have to be who we really are, what we're made of and made for, to make the difference we came for. And most people are so cut off from who and what they are. They've been so influenced by the external influencers, by the shadow of influence, and by the influence in the collective consciousness that we're separated from ourselves. So I'm going to show you how to get back to yourself, back to that seed of purpose and potential, how to unlock that power to influence the world, to make a living doing what you love, to launch it into the world. And now more than ever, because of everything I'm talking about and everything we're going through, we need individuals that are truly reclaiming their own agency, their own sovereignty, their own unique divinity and unique expression and purpose, so they can be the light in the world and help lead us during this time of great, great change. Otherwise, there's no guarantee that this experiment called America or even this experiment called humanity is going to work. There's no guarantee. We have to now step up and collaborate with the evolutionary impulse. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? We have to step up and collaborate with it. So go check it out, DerekRydall.com/influencer. If you want to be an influencer, if you want to be a change maker and a thought leader, this is the way to go. This is the way to leverage who you really are, to leverage your experience, and to turn it into a powerful campaign to influence those that you are here to help. And I'll say another final thing about influence, that you need to know how you're being influenced. You need to have a deeper understanding. You need to be able to look at your life and see what it's made you, what it's trying to work on through you. But you also need then to have influence over yourself. To the extent that you can enroll yourself and influence yourself, to that extent and no greater can you enroll and influence others. Whenever you're trying to get what you need and go to the next level, or enroll somebody in your vision, mission, or idea, or even enroll your children in something, right? In whatever the need is for the family, or enroll your partner. The reason why we struggle with that, or the extent that we fail at enrolling or influencing others, is because we hit the thresholds and the places where we have not yet enrolled ourselves, where we don't have influence over ourselves, where, as I said, we're being influenced by something or someone else, where we're just a program that's running itself. Hey there. And so we need to have influence and be able to enroll ourselves. We need to be able to look at the parts of us that are uncomfortable with power, that have judgments about power, that have judgments about enrolling other people, that have judgments about selling or marketing, or whatever it is that you judge. If you look out and see wealthy people and you have any judgment about that, you're not going to be able to enroll yourself in the consciousness of wealth. Do you hear that? If you have judgment about people that are wealthy, you will not be able to enroll yourself in the consciousness of wealth. And then you will not be able to enroll others into your programs or your products or your business if it's going to lead to success and wealth. You'll sabotage that. If you have judgments about successful people, if you have judgments about people that are selling you something, you will not be able to enroll yourself in the process of selling what you have to offer. Whether you're selling an actual product, program, or selling an idea, or preaching the gospel, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're selling, whatever you're trying to enroll people or influence people in, if you have any judgment along the line of what it takes to enroll or influence people, you have judgment of wealth, success, power, authority, influence. You think they're manipulative, so you have the shadow of manipulator, controlling, whatever that is. Anywhere you have a judgment about that, when you go to enroll or influence somebody or sell something, you're going to hit those bumps and you're not going to be able to enroll them. You're not going to be able to have influence. Again, whether it's selling to a client or selling an idea to your partner or enrolling your children, you're going to bump. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have to use force, coercion, and destructive manipulation to overcome those places and pockets where you're not enrolled in yourself. Are you following this? This is important stuff. When we look out at the world and we see people with force and, not real power, but force, cajoling, controlling, coercing, manipulating, it's because they haven't been able to enroll themselves. They are a victim of external influences and past influences, and now the ego has to step in and use force. Whether it's destructive, shadowy manipulation and propaganda, or whether it's literal physical force, abuse, these are all signs of somebody that has failed to influence and enroll themselves properly. And when you hit those thresholds and you haven't cleaned up your own, you haven't understood how you're being influenced and you haven't cleaned that up, you're either going to back away and resign and not even pursue your dreams or your goals, or enrolling people in your programs or whatever the case may be, or enrolling somebody in your life. You're either going to back away and resign, make up an excuse. I don't have the time. Oh, it's too soon. It's too late. I'm too this. I'm too that. I'm not enough this, not enough that. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow, next year. It's not a good time to get into a relationship. It's not a good time to start a business. I'll write my book next summer, whatever, right? You'll have all these excuses. And what it's really saying is, I'm not enrolled in myself. I'm not having the power to influence myself. I'm bumping into my own unconscious patterns of fear, doubt, worry, judgment. And so I'm just going to back away, make an excuse, or you force yourself forward. You push, you control, you coerce. You beat yourself up or you beat other people up in order to try to push past those places where you're not enrolled and you don't have good influence over yourself. You guys get this? Let me know that you're understanding what I'm saying, because this is the ball game here. If you want to be a powerful influencer, if you want to be able to unlock your powers to influence the world, to make a real change in your family, in your world, just in your own life, in your business or whatever, you must understand what's going on. You must understand how these powers of influence are influencing you. And you must understand that when you're seeking to control or push or make excuses or give up, it's because you've lost your power to influence. First and foremost, yourself. So I invite you to join me on the training at DerekRydall.com/influencer. The link's there. And it's a free training, and I'm going to talk more about this and show you how to dig in deeper and understand what is your role of influence in this world and at this time. How do you unlock the power to influence? How do you turn that into a sacred offering to the world? How do you build a platform in the world to have real sustainable success and impact? And if you want that, if you aspire ever to be a change maker, thought leader, influencer, and just want to have influence over your own life, please join this. Go to DerekRydall.com, DerekRydall.com/influencer, and join this powerful group and movement of influencers and change makers and thought leaders, and learn how to finally unlock your power to influence the world, your power to influence yourself. Because now more than ever, we need to rise up, to take our place, to fulfill our purpose. It was for this, such a time as this, that we came, right? And this wave that's happening right now, the individuals that catch this wave, that master the power to influence, that gain influence over themselves, those are the ones that are going to succeed long term, that are going to have sustainable impact long term. Out of such a wave as this rises the next generation of real change makers. And if you want to be one of those, please join me on this powerful webinar, Unlock the Power to Influence the World. Go to DerekRydall.com/influencer. Share below what you think about this. Share this with friends or family or colleagues that also want to be influencers, or that you believe are being overly influenced and they need to learn how to unlock their own power to influence. First and foremost themselves, and then the world. And I just really look forward to seeing you and helping you and supporting you take your life and your work to the next level. Until next time, remember to live authentically, love unconditionally, and follow your destiny. Take care.